Hey, you forgot to say no wheelies.
Well, he didn't want to. He was going to let us do wheelies until you mentioned it. Wow, it's very well balanced.
I can make a lot of smoke, but I haven't been able to get the front.
Okay, classics. Okay, let's grab you a classic.
How heavy are these?
What you're on now, wet weight is 835 pounds.
Wow, it's incredibly well balanced.
It is. It's
really
because there's
wow.
no drive chain.
I'm impressed.
So we move the engine and transmission together, which consequently puts your center of gravity right under you and a little forward.
Really nice clutch pull too.
It's easy to sling up, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
This thing feels lighter than my Sportster.
And literally, when you get out on the highway, you can just do this. And the bike will just...
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty easy to make friends with.
This clutch pull, too. I mean, you could have a broken hand and pull this clutch in.
And that's not a hydraulic clutch.
It's not?
That's a manual cable clutch.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Wow. All right. Am I neutral? Yeah. No, I'm not neutral.
Also, clutch adjustment right down here. Easy to get to.
Yep.
13
Okay.
and 14. Couple of twists.
Perfect. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so on. Clutch in.
Good on all the...
Neutral? Oh, cool. I like that.
There you go.
There we go. A little different than the Harleys.
And again, if you want this, like to say RPM.
Yeah, I'd like that actually. Okay, this has the trigger thing too.
There you go.
Perfect. Cool.
It's RPM.
Cool. ABS. All right. Let's do it. Very extremely well balanced bike. I'm impressed. Never ridden a Softail, and these are kind of similar to Softails, but I mean, wicked well balanced. I'm impressed as hell with this bike already. The clutch pull is the lightest clutch pull I've ever felt compared to any Harley I've ridden, compared to any other bike I've ridden. This clutch pull is by far the lightest. Hey, that one has fishtails on it. That's pretty awesome. Stock exhaust is very quiet, which is understandable, of course. It's a nice bike.
Yeah, heavy. Mine feels heavy.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it feels really light.
maybe when I get moving.
Huh.
The throttles are weird.
Oh, they're really weird. Yeah, like it's easy to stall. Like the one guy stalled it, and I can see why. You got to really give it some gas.
Yeah.
They only idle at 750 RPM. If you hit this thing, you can get it to your RPMs. Okay. Sorry, I screwed you up. All right. The floorboards are very far out, which is good. This transmission's pretty smooth so far for the 3 gears I've shifted. Good power for sure. Well, now that screws everything up. A little bit of buffeting, but when it comes to windshields, it's almost expected. I mean, you're not gonna... Very nimble feeling, just like an electric glide. Feels very, very nimble. Great, very, very little vibration. Definitely less vibration than my Harley. The controls, I like the controls, the hand controls. They don't look quite as nice as a Harley, but they function very, very well from what I can see. From what, from what I've used. The turn signals I'm obviously not quite used to, but because they're on the left stem. But I don't like having the gauges on a tank, which I've never liked with any bike, so that's not like a Harley thing per se. That's just a motorcycle thing in general for me. But I'm interested to get this thing on the highway. Hopefully they take us on the highway. Accelerates pretty good. This thing's definitely got some oomph to it. 111 cubic inch engine. The throttle, I don't like the throttle at all. It's very like, I think it's electronic, and it just feels very touchy. So I don't like that. I'm not a fan of the throttle. As for, it's got highway pegs, which is good. I like having highway pegs, but I think that might be an aftermarket accessory, if I'm honest. Alright, so now we're going 40 in 4th gear at 2,000 RPM to give you a baseline here. I'm getting a little bit of buffeting. Let me put my shield down. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of helmet buffeting, but I mean that's just the nature of the windshield with a full face helmet. You got to really tune the windshield to your height. So, and I'm above average height, so I don't fault the bike for that. Okay, so the handlebar position is great. I love where the handlebars are. The foot position, I like the floorboards a lot more than a Harley touring bike because they're much farther forward. So for being 6 feet, I can really stretch my legs out in a way that I can't with the Harley touring bikes. The brakes feel good. ABS, not linked, which I personally like that they're not linked. I like to be in control. Don't know if I'm a fan of ABS, but I mean, it is what it is. They're on all new bikes, so what are you gonna do? All right, I'm at 2,200 RPM at 50 miles an hour in 5th gear. So that means there's one more gear. And I just can't, I feel like the bike doesn't want that 6th gear. I'll put it in 6th in a minute, but hopefully if we get up to speed a little bit more. The buffeting's not too bad for a stock windshield, nothing I can't deal with. This is a very nice motorcycle, though. I must say, I still I'm not 100% a fan of the styling. This is the, I never even mentioned, this is the vintage. There's the Chieftain, the vintage, and the classic. Personally, I like the looks of the classic the most. I think they're a real sharp looking bike. The vintage looks okay, and I like the cool leather accents they have, but personally, I could do without it. I prefer the classic, but. So at 50 to 60 miles an hour, it seems like 5th gear is really the gear to be in, which is around 2,000 to 2,500 RPM. I'm going to put it in 6th here, which puts me down to 2,100 RPM at 56 or so. I'm right at about 2,000 RPM, so it's geared pretty low, but I can't keep it in 6th. It just doesn't feel right. Vibration on the road here is really good. Very little vibration, much less than a Harley. Any Harleys that I've ever ridden, but you know, obviously Harleys are meant to have some vibration, of course. The suspension, very smooth ride, obviously a lot smoother than my Sportster, but you know, my Sportster's not meant to have a smooth ride per se. But very good ride. The bike, like I said, it's pretty nimble. I mean, it feels pretty good. I feel like you could hit some turns with this bike and not be totally disadvantaged by it. Let me see if it has speakers on it. Honestly, I don't know how to use the radio. I probably should have figured that one out before I left, but it's got cruise control as well, which is cool. Cruise control, I'm trying to activate it right now. Hang on a minute. Let me not make sure I don't run into people here. Set. Okay, I set the cruise control. The brakes do deactivate it, obviously, which is good. There's a little indicator on the gauge cluster here, telling you what gear you're in. The trip meter. It gives you your RPMs, which you can switch through. You can get the time. So it gives you a lot of stats that you could possibly want. Power's pretty good too. I just pulled it up to about 70 right there because there was a bit of a gap in the bikes. And the power, I mean, it's got plenty of power for what this bike is. And that's stock. You know, do a nice little stage 1 on this, and I'm sure you'll bring it to life even a little bit more. As far as I know, these are air-cooled with an oil cooler in between the front of the frame. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. But overall, very comfortable bike. I feel like I could ride this very far and be perfectly comfortable. I'm not going to say anything else other than, I'm not going to say whether or not I'd buy one yet, but let's wait till the end of the ride for that. But highway pegs, kind of a weird position. They need to be turned in a little bit more. They're almost too far out, but you know, that's an accessory thing. That's no big deal. You can just, I'm sure you can get different ones, and I can already see on these mounts you can angle them differently. So personally, for my legs, I'd have them angled much different, but that's no big deal. That's just a customization thing. I feel like the speakers on this bike are a little bit out of place. They look fine, you know, they're not bad looking, but they are a little bit kind of out of place, if I had to say. So. Alright, we got some vibration at 3,600 RPM. Ooh, see, I don't like that. I got vibration at 3,500 RPM. The bike buzzes quite a bit, and I can feel I can almost hear something rattling. Like I can hear maybe the windshield mounts rattling or the handlebar, something. I don't know. I can hear some type of rattle that I'm not really a huge fan of. I'm gonna hopefully get this thing up to higher RPM also and really see what it's like. I want to let the bike get warmed up though. I mean, it's warmed up because people have been riding it anyway, but I just want to make sure, you know. I don't need to be blowing up their bikes. In third gear at 40 right now. It seems to be a good spot for this bike. Good brakes. I mean, the brakes are, you know, fine. Nothing to be concerned about, that's for sure. They're as good as any other touring bike. Gotta really give it some gas when you go to accelerate. It's pretty easy to stall this bike. Oh, they're taking us down some backcountry roads. I like it. Self-canceling turn signals. They seem to work adequately. It's a little bit herky-jerky. I'm not a fan of the throttle at all, actually. More herky-jerky than my bike or any other Harleys I've ridden. I think I don't hear that primary chain clunk though. I'm not really sure what kind of setup they use, but I don't hear like clunk like I do on a Harley when you can feel the primary chain kind of unslacking. But it's herky-jerky despite that, so I don't know if I don't really like that. But yeah, I mean, a pretty friendly bike. I think, like I was talking about earlier, the weight balance is good. I think anybody could ride this thing, you know, without issue. So, women, smaller guys, I don't think it's a problem. And me being a bigger guy, it feels comfortable as well for me. Maybe slightly cramped in that I would like highway pegs that were a little bit more usable for me. But other than that, geez, I mean, it's fine. Power seems pretty good. Yeah, I must say the vibrations at higher RPMs, like, it's a weird vibration. It's like a faster vibration than a Harley. It's very like, this is 3,300 RPM, and it's very, like, I don't like it. I really don't like the vibrations on it. Like, can you hear that? I don't know what that sound is, but I hope you can hear it on camera. It's like something's rattling when it vibrates. I mean, vibration's one thing, but I don't want to hear that rattle. I don't. That's one thing I really don't like about this bike a lot. Well, my dad said he was feeling the exact same rattle that I was feeling, so it's not just me. There's some type of, and he doesn't have this bag here, which could be part of the rattle. This is a pretty good sized bag. It's a nice bag. I'm glad to hear that it's not the cause of the rattle. The power's great. I mean, there's nothing to be desired in the power department. It's perfectly fast, and I haven't obviously had a chance to wind it out. But I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, power-wise. It revs to, I saw the tachometer on the Chieftain. I think it goes to 5,500 or 6,000 RPM, so about the same as a Harley, which is, I think, probably a good range for this motor based on the way it feels low end. The low end grunt is fantastic. You know, this thing will pull you up a hill and freaking tow a tow truck up a hill. A lot of good power down low. So that's the thing. What's weird about this bike is the vibration. Like, there's either zero vibration at low RPMs, or there's like a ton of vibration at high RPMs. It's a very strict shift. You just go from none to like tons of vibration, which is kind of annoying, to be honest. Let's get it down a couple gears. So at 4,500 RPM, it vibrates and rattles like crazy. You know, it's not bad. I don't want to. It definitely doesn't destroy the bike. It's just kind of annoying. That's all. But geez, for the first or second year model, the 2013, 2014 Indian, I mean, they've definitely done something right with this bike. I mean, it's a nice bike especially for a first year model. Engine heat. That's a big problem with Harleys with their bigger engines. Honestly, if I'm perfectly honest, this bike's not a whole lot better. I can feel a lot of engine heat coming up through my legs, just like a Harley touring bike. And this isn't the fully loaded Chieftain, so you know what? I hate to say it, but the engine heat department is not a whole lot better. When I was parked and I had my leg down, I could really feel that engine heat right up in my thigh area, which is a big complaint for a lot of Harley guys. It's just the nature of the beast with these V-twin engines, you know, air-cooled V-twin, and you just get some extra heat, you know? Because of the fairings and the windshields and stuff, it just kind of blocks just enough of the airflow and lets it all come right up to you, and heat rises, so. Well, on that slow speed maneuver right there, the bars were a little bit heavy feeling. Yeah, see, the bars are trying to drop on me a little bit. So slow speed maneuvering, this bike doesn't handle quite as well as a Harley. I mean, that's hard for me to say that. That's kind of a really blunt, hard statement there for how long I've ridden this, but seems like it doesn't handle quite as well. Let me put it that way. Obviously, that could be partly due to air pressure and all that sort of stuff, because I mean, so many people are riding these bikes, they have to really make sure that they. Cool. Well, I'm glad I got to do that. Kickstand is... That is the kickstand. That's not the kickstand, is it? Hang on. There we go. Huh. Kickstand's a bit hard to get to. Okay. Cool.